Okay, so
Yes,
let's start. Let's start this session. A hands-on on AWS cloud computing. So on the we see like how to make a AWS account. Then we had tried to log in to the AWS console and then try to perform some operations. Then try to perform some operation over it. Okay, and even that we had also launched a virtual machine. I hope every one of you is comfortable in launching a virtual machine. Then after launching a virtual machine, you are able to perform some kind of computation, means you are able to execute a program. All of you are able to do that, that I am assuming. Okay, then some other let's see some other kind of services which happens uh, in the AWS cloud, and those services are important. Okay, so the first service in that line that I am going to discuss is S3 service, that is also known as simple storage service. Okay, so the S3 service, many of you have already either used directly the S3 service, or maybe you people are familiar about the Google Drives. So Google Drive is also a cloud storage service similar to the simple storage service provided by uh, the AWS. Okay, so in the S3 service, what you have to do, there are two kind of access, or even you can say three kind of access that it provides. Either you can access using the console that uh, like I am using it currently. The another kind of access that you could launch by using the command line or command line interpreter, that is CLI. And there is another kind of access that you can do in the S3 while writing your applications or developing your software. Like if you are developing a software system or or an application, and in that application if your service is using some kind of storage service, okay, some kind of storage service for storing the user's information, multimedia data, or some other kind of data, at that time you will store the S3 service. Guys, just remember, there is a difference between the database service and the storage service. This is not a database service, this is a storage service to store your files. Okay, so don't mix with database service. A database service is an is separate service, is provided in the AWS cloud computing. Okay, so that have entire section, that is relational database, then DynamoDB, Elastic Cache. So there are multiple kind of services there. So this is another thing. This is a storage service provided in the S3. Here you are actually storing your data. Okay, so the first thing is, let's create a bucket. So whenever you want to store any kind of file in the S3, the first operation is you have to create a bucket, and that bucket name should be DNS compliance. What is mean by DNS compliance? Means that bucket should be unique. The name of the bucket should be unique. Okay, then only you are able to name that bucket. And also, since it is asking for DNS compliance, means all the files which is stored in the S3 bucket would be available over the internet. Means if I am storing some files, let's say I am sharing all the data that we have covered or discussed over the course of this presentation. Okay, and if all the data I had stored in the S3 bucket, okay, and then I had shared that S3 bucket over a link, by using that link you are able to download all that data or able to see all those data as the permission I will assign to them. Okay, so let's create a bucket. As you see, it is already giving you a message: enter DNS compliant bucket name. Your bucket name should be DNS compliant and it should be unique across the AWS cloud computing domain. Okay, so as you know, DNS compliant means, in simple word, it should be unique. Like, you don't till now you had not seen that two website have a similar name. Okay, the website names are unique, they are different to each other. Okay, so let's create a bucket. So I'm going to create a bucket with my name. Okay, and you cannot use this hyphen. Okay, underscore is allowed. I think underscore is also not allowed. So dot operator is also not allowed. I had also a name, a bucket, mullet triple ITDWD. So let's name it as 2. Okay, then you can select what the reason you want to launch it. So it is advisable, if you are storing multimedia data in this bucket. So if the bucket is near to your location or near to the service where you are launching or giving the service or application to your user, if you are storing the data near to them, so the processing is fast, means the access latency between the two nodes are reduced. That's why it is advisable to choose a region which is near to you. Okay, so let's choose Asia Pacific. Okay, then other things are optional, you can leave them. Other things are optional, so you can leave them. And let's create this bucket. So you can see uh, a bucket has been created. When the bucket has been created, the next thing, let's upload few documents in that. Okay, so you can upload whatever you want. So I'm going to upload some data in that. When I open it, all the files will upload one by one. Okay guys, so you are able to see that it is possible that you can upload your data from your standard laptop or even from your desktop, from mobile phones. You can able to use the storage services in the cloud computing. The next point is that, let's you have uploaded this data and you want to allow other users, to access these data. So what you will do? So the multiple kind of properties in that, okay, that I am not discussing right now. Few things, that is versioning, that The first thing, that is versioning. It's mean like uh, whenever any kind of update, modification, or alteration is performed over the bucket, a log has been made and all the versions of the file or the bucket will be stored. Okay. Then the server access login, object level login, you can do all things. Even you can provide encryption service over the S3 bucket. So few things are disabled that will be enabled once you uh, get the uh, get past the free user, or even you can uh, enable few of them. Okay. Then the permission. So I had not given the bucket the public access, but you can give it a public access. Once you will provide it the public access, the data that is stored in this bucket is available to the public, and you can directly see those items or the data using using web address. So you can see that block all public access. So I am just uncheck that. Turning this setting on is same as turning on all four settings. Each of the following settings are independent of each other, means block public access to buckets and object granted through new access control. So S3 will block public access permission applied to newly added buckets or objects and prevent the creation of new public access ACLs of the existing buckets and objects. And this setting does not change any existing provision that allow the public access of S3 resources. So there are multiple access points that you can check, uncheck uh, based on your uses, based on your uses of the content that is stored in the bucket. Okay, so that you can do that. I am not changing and making it by default. Just a minute, guys. I am going to make it public so that you can access the following resources. So I am going to give few permissions, that is list the object. So, and you can also, I am not allowing to write anything in the bucket. I am just going to give you the read permission in the bucket. So this is the object URL. Using this URL, if I go and just enter it, guys, there's it seems like there is some issue with that. I will come to that. Make it public. So even at the user level, it required to make it public. Once you make it public, the next point is just copy the URL and paste it here. So now you are able to see that one can download the data. So I'm just sharing the link in the comment box. So even all of you, you people can download these resources. Okay, so just it is for an example purpose how you can make these document public and able to download. Just use this link. I hope all of you will able to download this picture. Okay, so this is the way through which you can perform a web access or a console access of an S3 bucket, and even you can create multiple folders and you are able to store the data in the S3 bucket. The next thing that I want to discuss is the programming access or command line interpreter access of S3 bucket. For that purpose, what you have to do, you have to first start any kind of operation in the AWS. First, you have to type AWS. After that, since I want to log in from the command line, so for that purpose, I have to write configure. When you write configure, then hit the enter. It will ask you for access key ID. So the same access key ID and the secret access key that you had downloaded when you had first created the user. So if you have forget to download the access key ID and the secret access key, the best way to get those two things is to create a new user rather than just getting and creating a new secret access key. It's best uh, advisable to just create a new user and then download the access key. Okay, since I had already done that, uh, so I have stored in a folder. So I'm just opening it. Just copy these access keys, paste here, then the secret access key, paste here, and then it will ask for its default region, that is optional. You can hit enter, and the output format, that is also optional. It is giving it the output is always in JSON. Just hit the enter. You had logged into the system. You have logged on. to the AWS system. If there was some error, it definitely show you. Then another thing, that whenever you want to use a service, just type AWS and then the service name. Okay. So since I had not given any parameter, that's why it's giving that error. Okay. Let's type AWS S3 and then ls. Ls means list all the buckets. When you hit the enter, after writing ls, it will print all the buckets that I had created. So you can see that I had created 3 buckets. Okay, that you can verify by seeing on the console. So there are 3 buckets, all of you able to see, and all the 3 buckets are even listed in my local system. Once you have done with this, there are multiple commands that we try to examine them one by one. Okay. So the commands are, let's try to copy a local file in the S3 bucket. So for that purpose, what you have to do, you have to write first AWS, then S3, then copy, then this is the file name, then the path on which it will be uploaded. So it have the S3, then the bucket name, and then the file name. So here my bucket name, my bucket name is, you can use any of them. Since the file name was test1.txt, that's why I'm just updating it. And when you hit the enter, the file will uploaded to the S3 bucket. It takes some time. You are able to see the upload has been happened. Okay. So by seeing in the console, you can verify it. Okay. So a file has been uploaded in the system. Again, the next thing that you can perform, copying a file, copying a file from one S3 bucket to another S3 bucket. How you can do that? The AWS command, then the service name, then the service name. The next thing that we have to update is the The next thing that we have to update the bucket names. And the bucket name is so it is up to you what whatsoever you name want to write it. I think it may be some error. Yeah. Yeah. So that data has been transferred from one S3 bucket, copied from one S3 bucket to another S3 bucket. So you can do that. The next thing, how to create a bucket, how to create a bucket in simple storage system. So for that purpose, command that is name as mb for make a bucket, and then you have to write its name, that is S3, and the name of the bucket. So just for a naming convention, I am write it as triple IT DWD 1 2 and then 3. Okay, so the bucket has been created. So you can even check that whether it has been created or not. Okay, so you can understand that you can able to do all kinds of operation over the over S3. The checklist is available. Okay, that I will share with you. Just go on the CLI documentation. Nothing is required to remember, and also there is no need to remember anything. Just go into the CLI documentation for AWS. All the command that I am using here and that I am going to discuss is everything is documented here. Just go one by one them and just do your experiments. Okay, do all kind of copy paste delete operation, recursive operation, transfer operation, all kind of storage service operation you can do uh, using the command line, and even you can call the AWS services in your programs. Okay, I hope this makes clear to everyone. Okay, so there are a few other services like copying an S3 object to a local file, then copying an S3 object from one bucket to another bucket. So all these kind of things, I hope you can do that. Okay, and the documentation is available. I am just copying the link, copy the link. Okay, and putting in the chat box so that every one of you, whenever required, able to go to these reference. Okay. Another better way to reach to this documentation um, is better uh, if you go to each and every services for a CLI command. Okay. So that will be the direct commands. You will get it. So that will be more useful or helpful for you whenever you are performing an experiment. Okay, guys. So I hope you are able to do operations with S3. Okay. So let's look some other services. Let's look some other services in S3. Sorry, in AWS Cloud Computing. So the first service that I want to discuss with you, since many of you are also interested in machine learning techniques. So the first service, which is related to image processing, is named as AWS Recognition. So the entire service is given in as a demo. Okay. So I will demonstrate these demos one by one. Okay. So you can use it by using the console, and even you can programmatically call by using uh, programming language of your choice, and more conveniently using Python. So you are able to see that there is an object, and in that object there are multiple cars parked on the road, and on that road there is a zebra crossing and a person who is on a skate, is jumping. So each and everything. So if this kind of image you get, and someone has given you a task to recognize each and every object, to recognize each and every object present in the image, means object detection or scene detection. So for that purpose, you have to train your model. You have to train your model on sufficiently large data set, or on a data set in a particular subject. So this is a subject which involved automobiles, road, and certain kind of things. So if your data set uh, have these kinds of values, then only your system will properly train, and when you test, it will perform better. But with the use of cloud services, since they have trained over a very large data set, which is most of the time not possible for a user or for a students or academician to train such a large data set. It will never be possible that you will train a data set that will sufficiently large, that will be equal to the size of this recognition engine. So most of the time, what is advisable even in the industry, that rather than building your own models, why not you directly uh, brought these models and embed into your applications or softwares. Okay. So you are able to see that these are the individual cars. Okay. And this system is recognizing the person, the human, automobiles, vehicles, and each and everything present in the system. Even if you upload a new data, let's say I am uploading a new data, that is a city. So you can see that it is uniquely identifying the particular picture is from urban location, it's a city, high rise buildings, okay, and maybe it's a downtown. You are able to understand? Similarly, if I upload this data, that is recog image, so it is identifying the humans, pedestrians, person, road, and the road is made of asphalt road, then the zebra crossing, okay. So you can see that how accurate this system is because it is trained over sufficiently large data set, okay, and also the response time is very less. As soon as you are uploading the data, a new test data, it is giving you the result uh, in a very less amount of time, or simultaneously reverting back. Yeah, the same command is also work in MacBook. Just You have to connect uh, with your AWS system. Just you have to connect with your AWS account. Yeah, commands are already available in the operating system. No use. Even it is easier to connecting from iOS and from Linux. No need to install anything. Okay, so the next kind of example that the AWS recognition engine can perform is image moderation. Is image moderation. Okay, so the image moderation kind of things perform like even such moderation you find on you find on your Facebook. Like whenever any content which is either not advisable to see or not advisable to see in a particular country, so that particular image become blur. So if there are hundreds or thousands of such image, so definitely you need a model to perform a image moderation. Okay, so for that purpose these kind of techniques used. So let's I am uploading an image to perform a image moderation. So this is the suggestive content that I am going to upload. So you are able to see this image is a violent image, violence. Okay, so 97.1% with the an accuracy. Then there is a weapon in this image. Okay, so if there is such kind of image and you want to perform an image moderation, and with the same time you also want that it will throw some suggestive response to the user, like even after that the user know that it have violence and also have some weapon in that. So it is good that small kids or children are not using it, not seeing that. Okay, so after the human intervention or human review, even after that you want to see that, you can view the content. Okay, are you able to understand why such kind of operations are required? So all these operations that I am discussing here, you can call in your programs, that you can call in your programs and directly use it. Okay, then facial analysis. So even it can perform I'd say smiling, even it is giving you a age range. Okay, and whether it's happy or not, what kind of whether it's wearing a glass or not. So if there are images that you want to recognize from the image, such kind of things, the mood of the object, what is the mood of the object, whether it's happy, sorrow, sad, something like that. So that kind of things even possible. Further, there is an important thing, that is celebrity recognition. Okay, if we are uploading our image, definitely the system will not recognize. But if someone is uploading celebrity image, definitely system will recognize. So let's start with some of our Indian celebrity, whether the system is able to recognize or not. So let's say with the image of Virat, so you can see that the kind of confidence, with an 100% confidence, the system is saying that this is Virat Kohli. Okay. After that, if a particular image have multiple faces, if a particular image have multiple faces, even at that time, this system perform very fairly. Like this is the cricket team. So in this cricket team, you can see that uh, the system is able to recognize, although the image is not good, it's somewhat blur. That's why the confidence score is low. Then this is Ajinkya Rahane, then Virat Kohli, and this is Ravichandran Ashwin. Okay, Ravindra Jadeja and other players. It is able to recognize those kind of. Okay, there is another operation that we can do. If we upload two images, if we upload two images, still it is able to recognize. So in this image, you are able to see that there is a single person and this is the group of person. If you want to recognize whether this person is appear in this image or not, so you can do that. So such kind of thing become important. Let's say you want to searching for some culprit or some criminal or something like that, and that criminal has appeared in a match or somewhere in a meeting or somewhere in a marriage, a party or something like that, and you have a single image of that uh, criminal. So by using this system, you able to identify that whether that person is appeared in that event or not. Okay. And finally, it have another service that is known as text in the image. And if there is a text in the image, even the system is able to perform fairly. So many of time such kind of operations become important. Like many of you even made these this kind of project uh, in your BTech project or MTech project, something like that. So where you identify the number plate recognition by various algorithms. Okay. So these systems are even more advanced. Okay. Very advanced that they can uniquely identify. If you upload a number plate, they will recognize it. Let's upload few other things, whether it is able to recognize it or not. Yeah. So you can see that it is able to recognize everything. You need a little bit of insanity to do the great things. So these kind of operation, if you have to do, so rather than implementing a system from scratch, you can take already trained system and just host your applications rather than developing the system from the scratch by using the cloud services. Okay. So I hope you are able to understand how to use the emoji recognition. Let's discuss another service of Amazon, uh, that is Amazon text extraction, extract. So many of the time, uh, it's become important. Like you have a large amount of documents, and you want to read the content of that document. You want to read the content of that document, and then after reading the content of that document, you want to classify them. You want to classify them, or want to appear them into a presentable form. So for that purpose, this service is required, the Amazon text extraction. So the previous service was for image processing services, and this service for text analysis. Okay, so the service is first reading all the content, even it will present you in the presentable form. Means if you just want to read the mailing address, it will read the mailing address. It will also read the name, phone number, and the home address. You are able to see that. Even it will present you the things in a tabular form. So that will be help you out to perform any kind of classification task if you want to do over this group of data, group of documents. So such kind of things are possible using this text extraction service. Another service which is very much important whenever it's a real time, whenever there is a real time flow of information, like I am speaking and you people are hearing it, and if something happened that some of the students are not able to understand the language in which the instructor is teaching, at that time, if there is a facility of transcription, if there is a facility of transcription which provides to the transcription in a real time, so that will be a very beneficial service. So even such kind of services are already tailored made. Not this service, its name is something else. Just a minute. Yeah, I am coming to that service which performing automatic generating automatic transcription of a speech data. I will come to that service. Before that, this is another service in the AWS domain, AWS machine learning domain. That is AWS Comprehend. So the AWS Comprehend, the previous service that we had discussed is a just a text extraction, but it is not giving you information about the metadata. Means after reading a particular kind of information, whether your system is able to recognize that this information have a person name, this information have a city name, this information have a country name, or this information have a number and that number is a phone number. So if that kind of things is required, So that is an insight over that data. So you can able to see that after reading such kind of information, it have identified the key phrases. It has identified the key phrases and it is saying that this name belongs to a person, and any company financial service is an organization. Okay, and this is a particular number, it is not able to recognize. Then it's a quantity, this is the date, and this is a location. So if you want such kind of service, you are able to launch AWS Comprehend. Okay, so AWS Comprehend not only perform a text analysis, even it is able to provide you a comprehension over the medical statement. So if a doctor is writing something or some medical prescription and the patient is not able to understand that, even such kind of services are also possible in AWS Comprehend. And this is another service which is text to speech. Whenever you are writing anything, it will okay, so whenever you are writing anything, it will directly convert from text to speech. Okay, so the service is named as Amazon Poly. And then there is another service which is known as Amazon Translate. And if you are writing anything here, just copy anything from Google. Let's say I'm copying it from one of my presentation and entered here. Okay, so even you can change it into some other language. Let's say, let's try to change in some Indian languages. Uh, let's start with Bengali. So you can see that it convert the text into Bengali. Other supported in Indian languages are, I think it also supports Hindi. You can see that it has converted the information into Hindi, and it also supports Tamil, I think. Yeah, so it can do that. They are adding the other regional Indian languages one by one to these real-time translations. So these are the kind of things where you can perform integration of multiple services. How? The point is that let's say that there is an speaker, there is an speaker who is speaking in uh, Spanish. Let's say he is speaking in Spanish and using a service of Amazon transcription, that you have generated the transcription. After that, from that transcription, you has providing that output as an input for Amazon Translate. So the Amazon Translate take the input from the output from that service, from the transcription service. After taking the output, it is converting the Spanish into directly into English. In this way, a native speaker uh, who is speaking in Spanish, you have converted into English. After converting into English, you are taking that output as an input in a service that is named as Amazon Poly. Okay, and then from text to speech means from Spanish, you can directly in a real time convert a language into English. So that is the point. Although it is not possible, it's 100% accuracy or very good translation of the speech, but still such kind of services become possible after the integration of multiple AWS resources. Okay, and over the time, these services are getting better with each passing day, and someday we will find out uh, a real-time translation of one language to another language. Okay, guys. So, what could be any other thing you want to ask? Anything, guys, you want to ask? Okay, so those who are no, such kind of things are not possible. It will not test for copyright. It will not test for copyright that you have to implement separately. Satellite service? Which satellite service? Yeah, there are services. Even I had not explored all the services, and it is not possible that a person who work in across all domain. So if you have interest over that, just go on it and read all the documentation, and there you can say the use they will definitely added some examples, some use cases. Just try to execute them, and you will able to perform operation over these services or get kind of comfortable over these services. Yeah, definitely. You can build a service, you can model a service, then you can host a service. That is equally possible. No, it doesn't require. It doesn't require. Most of the time, maybe they will avoid to upload an EXE service, or the executable maybe they will don't allow to upload. Although I had not checked it, just you can check and verify whether it is possible or not. Why you want an antivirus service? I'm not able to understand. They made their system like very much robust, and they do all kind of things to avoid uh, such kind of virus injection and other things. So it is completely safe. It is not possible to perform a virus attack. Okay, so virus attacks are only possible from like very much professional people who are professionally hackers. Any mobility services related to transportation. So it is up to you, like how you are using these services. What kind of mobility services you want? What kind of mobility service? Yeah, so you want to perform traffic management kind of thing. So you can do that if you want to do a traffic management kind of thing. So for that purpose, if you have some tailor-made algorithm, if you have some tailor-made algorithm, means you are performing a scheduling services, and over that scheduling service one of the brake lights are on, one of the traffic lights are going to be on, and if that algorithm is your algorithm, even you can host in a cloud. For that purpose, there is a service that is known as Amazon SageMaker. There is a service that is known as Amazon SageMaker. In the SageMaker, you can write your code, you can train your model, and even you can deploy your model. That all kind of things are possible in Amazon SageMaker. So if you want to do that, go with the Amazon SageMaker. They will provide you uh, a Google a Jupyter notebook. On that Jupyter notebook, you can train your model, and even after that, you can deploy your model. Okay, guys. So another thing, if someone want to access such kind of services using a program code, so it is up to you. You are free to use any editor, whether it's a PyCharm or a Jupyter Notebook or anything, a Spider. So it is up to you what you want to do. I am just using one of them for demonstration purpose. Okay, that while writing in the programs, there is go to 3. Okay, so you can search that library. There is an entire documentation for that. First, you will import the library, then you will create the client, then you will call a method and pass an input. Like in this case, we will pass an image. That image could be passed either from your personal system or your mobile phone or your personal laptop, or even you can pass uh, from the S3 bucket. You can do both of them. And for that purpose, you have to perform an authentication and authorization service. Means if you are launching a client, so first you have to create a user, either give the user privilege of an administrative account. Okay, and if you are not giving the user a privilege of administrating account, so at least give them that user a privilege to use a particular kind of service. So in this case, since we are using Amazon recognition, so whatsoever user you are creating, give them a permission to use the AWS recognition. After that, once you have given the permission to use the Amazon recognition, the next thing is to read the credentials. Once you will read the credentials, you will find out the access key ID and the secret access key. So guys, just remember, never write, never write the access key or the secret access key in your programs directly. Always give them as a uh, not directly write the bare credentials in your program. Okay, so if you write the bare credentials in your program, maybe somewhere it will be compromised. After that, the image, the input image I am giving it, then I am creating the, in the client I am passing the secret access key and the access key ID, and after that I had called the method, that is recognize celebrity, and once it will recognize the celebrity, the and after that it will give you the output. Okay, so just you people are able to get to know, just you will able to get to know like uh, how to use this operation. If you want to write a code, if you want to write a code, like we have seen a method one, that we are using it by using the consoles of the AWS. Then we had tried to access the services using the command line interpreter. And the third thing, whether it is possible to implement in the code, and then we will try to access these operations. So that is the objective behind this. Okay guys, so in this way, so it is up to you. Maybe you people are not that interested in that. So the next point is, in the hands-on section, we have these kind of operation which is possible over the AWS. Okay, so that's all from my side. You can continue with your experiment, and if you want to discuss over that, or you are not able to execute some operation or some service of the AWS, and if you want to discuss or want my help, I will help you out to do that. Okay, so that's all for today. Okay, from my side, if you have any question, you can ask me.
Participants can share their questions in the chat window. Sir, I think there is one question on where we can find S3 security and policies that is pending.
Yeah, definitely. So you can find it out if you want to read the security policies and the S3 security and S3 policy. You can go to the S3 documentation part, and most of the important thing in the S3 is, it is like you have to perform the access control over the data that you have stored in the S3. So the access control is that you have given permission to either to a user who is going to access a particular resource. Like right now I had shown an example in that I had given a public permission to my S3 bucket. If I had given a public permission, means anyone can use the data stored in the S3 bucket. The next thing is, I had given a permission to a particular service. Like I have given a permission to, let's say, AWS recognition engine. So the reason being that, like, either you upload a multimedia data, means uh, image data, then the recognition engine will run and then perform analytics over that image. Okay, so that is the one way. In that you can see a lot, there is a excess latency, means you are uploading the data, then it goes to the engine, then engine perform the analytics and then come back to the result. Rather than that, you will giving you permission to your recognition engine to access the S3 bucket, and you had uploaded all your data at one time in the S3 bucket. So whenever your application is running in the real time, at that time, rather than uploading the data from your system, it is accessing the data from the S3 bucket. Okay, are you getting it?
Right. Thank you, sir. So, can you also please announce the time of the sessions for tomorrow and the assessment? Because I see a number of participants asking about the same.
Okay. So guys, I will try to club both the sessions in the morning at a once. Okay, so that all of you have a plenty of time to come with the come to participate in the assessment. Okay, so in the morning I will club both